Hey friends, today we're back in my kitchen because it's another recipe video, and today we're going to make a super delicious and authentic New York style bagel. This is the only recipe I use when I make bagels, and bagels are definitely one of my favorite types of bread. And at the end I'm going to show you guys how I guess style my bagel. Well, what I put on top, what is my most favorite, the best bagel sandwich in my opinion. So let's just get right on started. So to start off, we're going to combine all our dry ingredients in our bowl. If you're using yeast that you need to activate, so most of the times that is dry yeast, then make sure you do that beforehand. For that, you combine your yeast in some warm water with a little bit of sugar and let that kind of sit for 5 to 10 minutes before you stir it up, and then add that to your flour and salt. So I like to combine about half and half whole grain flour and the other half plain white flour. So I'm going to start off with the flour. I'm going to measure 250 grams of whole grain flour. And then I'm adding my plain white flour. Next, I'm going to add my dry yeast. My yeast does not need to be activated, but it says that on the package if it doesn't need to be activated. Usually dry yeast does. I'm just going to add that in. Then I'm going to stir this up well. Then I'm going to add a pinch of salt and a little bit of sugar. I'm going to combine this one more time so that everything is nicely mixed. So now I'm going to add our water to our dry ingredients. For that, I'm making a well in the middle. I'm going to pour in my slightly lukewarm water. I want to pour a little bit and then mix it up and then add some more if needed. And I'm already making a huge mess in my kitchen, but that's okay. That is always the case when cooking or baking at my kitchen. So I can see that I need to add more water. So I'm going to add some more. Mix it up again. You want to be adding your water slowly to your mixture. We want to form a soft and juicy, slightly sticky dough. But it really depends on what kind of flour you're using, how the water quality in your city or your place is. You will need different amounts of water, so just add it gradually and add more if needed. So we have this super sticky dough now that we're going to transfer onto our work surface to continue to knead. We're going to work in as much flour into this dough as possible while kneading. So I'm going to tip out the dough and just start working it. Since we want our bagels to have some texture to it, we're going to knead our dough for at least 10 minutes or so, just so it does have that bite to it. We want to do this kind of pull and fold motion to create some gluten. You'll notice that the flour will be picked up by the dough, and then you can just add some more onto your work surface if you need it. So I've just finished kneading the dough. I've oiled the bowl with a little bit of oil so that the dough just doesn't stick to the bowl when it rises. So we want to cover this up with a damp tea towel and then let this rise for about an hour, depending where you are. If your environment is a little bit colder, it might take a little longer. But we want to place it in a warmer area in your house and let that rise. Our goal is to have it double in size. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to place it right there next to my water boiler, and I'm going to make myself some tea. So this is in a nice warm and damp area. And we're going to check back in an hour or so and continue working the dough and finally shape our bagels, which is the fun and exciting part. So it's been about an hour. I went outside, had some coffee with friends, and I'm back. And the whole time I've been thinking of these bagels. I'm so excited. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to make these and show you guys. So I'm going to get the dough. So let's check to see if this has really doubled in size. Ooh, So this has definitely doubled in size, and now we're going to punch it down and let this sit punch down like this for 10 minutes before we start shaping the bagels. So we've let our punch down dough rest for a while now. So I'm going to take this all out, and you can see that it's become nice and bubbly on the inside. And I'm going to now separate this into 8 even pieces. You can be precise and use a scale, but I am not. So now that we have our bagel portions, we're going to slightly round these off so that there are no big creases in them. Okay, so now comes the part where a lot of people are confused how to get that hole into the bagel. It's really super easy. All you do is just poke your thumb through the bagel or through the dough and shape the round, and that's it. So easy. Seeing these bagels is really making me hungry. So I'm glad that I'm having these for lunch soon. Okay, so now that we've shaped our bagels, we're going to cover this once again with a damp tea towel and then let that rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before we cook our bagels. And yes, you heard right, you have to cook the bagels. That is part of the process and the secret to authentic, fantastic bagels. So I'm going to be back in a few minutes and show you guys how that is done. So we have our bagels over here, our black sesame seeds as a topping. I like to add sesame seeds, our water that is boiling. I've reduced the heat a little bit, and we're going to start with our first bagel. So I'm going to grab my first one and just put it into the hot water and let that cook for a few minutes. You'll see it rise to the top, and when it's floating on the top like it is right now, we're going to let that sit for about a minute. The longer you let it sit, so like 2 or 3 minutes, the chewier the bagel is going to be. So I'm going to actually put in 3 because I have the space, and just let that cook for a while. Also going to make sure that we flip the bagel halfway through. And once your bagel is done, you want to take it out. And this is the, oh gosh. Want to take it out, and then this is the point where you add your topping. So this is the point when the bagel is wet where you want to add your toppings. I'm going to add my sesame seeds. Slightly press that on there. This is the part of the bagel process that is a little bit stressful, but maybe don't do as many bagels in your pot. So the bagels are now out of their bath, and I've preheated the oven, so I'm going to shove them in the oven now and let that bake for about 20 minutes until they're slightly golden brown, and then we're going to take them out, let them cool, and then assemble our sandwich. So the bagels are done now. They look so incredibly delicious. We're going to pick out our most beautiful bagel. I think this is this one. Cut it up. I've let them cool for about 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to assemble the probably world's most delicious bagel ever. So now I'm going to show you guys my favorite topping. First of all, I'm going to add a little bit of cream cheese. This is not cream cheese. My supermarket ran out of cream cheese, so I am using crumbly cream cheese, but just use your normal regular cream cheese. Ooh, this looks delicious. I'm going to spread that on top. Then next I'm going to add a little bit of horseradish just to give it a tiny bit of spiciness. And then we're going to add some wild smoked salmon. This is probably one of my favorite things ever. And then lastly, I'm going to add the tomatoes. And that's it. This is the world's best bagel ever, in my opinion. You guys will probably love it as well. So the best part comes last, the taste test, the part you guys are probably also have been waiting for from the start. I'm going to take a large bite. Mmm. Mmm. I probably have cream cheese all over my face. Mmm. This is so good. This is absolutely the best lunch ever. So as you saw, bagels aren't that hard to make, especially if you don't live in New York and you want an authentic New York style bagel, then make this recipe and make a sandwich like I did using smoked wild salmon and cream cheese. I guarantee you guys will love it. I would love to know you guys' favorite bagel topping down in the description below. I'm always up for trying something new. And if you like this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I do a lot of health-related, food-related topics and minimalism. So if you're interested in that, then be sure to stick around for more. And I'll see you guys on my Thursday videos. And until next time, bye. Best sandwich ever.